Let me ask you something. Are you truly living life on your own terms? Or are you simply reacting to whatever life throws your way? Are you moving through your days with clear intention? Or do you find yourself stuck on autopilot, chasing tasks without feeling genuinely fulfilled? Because here's the thing. There's a huge difference between being busy and being truly effective. There's a gap between filling your calendar and filling your soul. Hey everyone, I'm Bix, and welcome back to Bix Book Summary, where we don't just skim through books. We dive deep into insights that can truly reshape your life from the inside out. Today, we're exploring a book that's become timeless for a reason. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. But let's get this clear right from the start. This isn't another productivity hack or a list of tips to cram more into your day. It's a fundamental shift in your mindset, your leadership, and ultimately, your life. Stephen Covey dedicated years studying what truly makes people effective, not just successful by society's standards, but deeply fulfilled and at peace. He observed that while some individuals hustle endlessly, exhausting themselves and yet never feeling truly accomplished, others navigate life with remarkable calm, focus, and a sense of meaningful purpose. And here's the surprising part. It's not because they're smarter, luckier, or have more time. It's because they live guided by deep-rooted principles instead of temporary plans and quick fixes. Throughout this video, we're going to explore these powerful 7 habits, not as rigid instructions or steps you mechanically follow, but as an entirely new lens to view your life through. You'll discover how to shift from living reactively, constantly putting out fires, to becoming proactive, consciously choosing your responses. We'll talk about crafting a compelling vision that genuinely inspires you and pulls you forward. We'll see how to align your daily actions consistently with what truly matters to your heart and purpose. We'll also discuss how effective people communicate in ways that foster connection rather than conflict, creating relationships built on mutual understanding and respect. We'll delve into how these highly effective people continually renew themselves, maintaining not just success, but longevity and sustainability in everything they achieve. Because remember, this isn't about filling your schedule. It's about filling your life with what actually matters. It's about effectiveness, not just in what you accomplish, but in who you evolve into along the journey. So if you're tired of feeling scattered, worn out by endless distractions, and overwhelmed by never-ending to-do lists, if you're ready to step into a life that's intentional, peaceful, and genuinely fulfilling, this video is exactly where you need to be. Let's dive in and discover what it truly means to live effectively. Let's begin. Life never asks permission to shift. It simply happens. One moment, you're coasting along smoothly, feeling comfortable and predictable, and in the next instant, everything changes. Plans you trusted crumble, the person you leaned on walks away, or the day you thought you controlled slips quietly from your grasp. Suddenly, you're left standing on shaky ground, uncertain and unsteady, wondering how to regain your footing. Most people live life in a constant state of reaction. Their emotions are dictated by the smallest changes. The weather outside, someone else's mood, or the unexpected disruption of their carefully laid plans. It's as though they're holding their breath, waiting for everything to align perfectly before they allow themselves to feel calm or confident. But Stephen Covey, in his groundbreaking first habit, shares a powerful truth. Your true strength doesn't come from controlling everything that happens to you. It comes from mastering how you choose to respond. Welcome to Habit 1, be proactive. Now, being proactive doesn't mean rushing aggressively into every situation or filling your day with nonstop hustle. It's not about trying to force your will onto the world around you. Instead, it's about something much deeper and more powerful. It's about recognizing that in every circumstance, no matter how chaotic, unexpected, or challenging, there exists a tiny, often overlooked moment. Within that brief pause between event and reaction lies your greatest power, your ability to choose. Think of it this way. Between what life throws at you and your immediate response, there is a precious space. It may seem fleeting, even insignificant at first glance, but it's in this quiet space that your strength truly lies. It's the space to pause, to take a deep breath, and consciously decide who you want to be at that moment. This is the heart of proactivity. not controlling life, but consciously choosing who you'll become when life inevitably happens. Stephen Covey explains this concept further with two powerful ideas: the circle of concern and the circle of influence. The circle of concern encompasses everything in your life that you worry about but cannot directly control. Things like other people's decisions, the economy, past mistakes, or even the weather. Many people spend their lives here, constantly anxious, always feeling powerless, and never truly fulfilled. But then there's your circle of influence. This is where your true power resides. These are things you actually can affect: your attitude, your choices, your reactions, your words, your actions, and where you place your attention. The more energy and attention you put into this circle, the more it expands, and the more powerful you become. You can't stop the rain, but you can choose to carry an umbrella. You can't control someone else's words, but you can decide to respond with grace, strength, and clarity. When you focus only on what you can't control, you feel small, overwhelmed, and helpless, like life is simply something happening to you. But when you shift your energy toward your circle of influence, everything changes. Your strength grows, your confidence builds, and your sense of control over your own destiny deepens. Instead of passively experiencing life, you begin actively shaping it, moment by moment, choice by intentional choice. Being proactive means accepting responsibility, not for what occurs around you, but for how you respond to it. It means reclaiming that sacred space between stimulus and response, choosing actions aligned with who you truly want to be, rather than reacting blindly out of habit or impulse. It's the quiet strength of deciding consciously, this is who I choose to be, rather than being swept up into who the moment tempts you to become. So the next time life unexpectedly shifts beneath your feet, pause. Take a deep breath. Remember, within that small pause lies your power. You have a choice. You can either surrender your power by reacting without thought, or you can reclaim control, taking a step back, centering yourself, and consciously deciding how you'll respond. Because being proactive isn't about changing the entire world around you. It's about transforming yourself, your mindset, your actions, your presence. And with practice, you'll find that small gap between what happens and your response grows bigger. It expands, giving you greater clarity, greater strength, and greater resilience. As you continue forward, this practice of proactivity will become your foundation, preparing you beautifully for habit 2. Begin with the end in mind. In the next part of our journey together, we'll explore what it means to approach life with clarity, purpose, and vision. How to start each day, each task, each choice with a sense of direction that propels you forward, creating a life not by default, but by design. Imagine this. You're sitting quietly in a peaceful room. The air is still, calm, yet somehow heavy with emotion. You hear voices, soft, familiar whispers. Curiosity builds, and as you glance around the room, it suddenly dawns on you. You're at your own funeral. The people who matter most to you are all gathered here. Your family, your friends, those whose lives you've touched deeply. One by one, they stand to share stories about you, about the life you lived, about who you truly were to them. They reflect on the impact you made and the legacy you left behind. Now ask yourself honestly, what do you want them to say? What stories do you hope they'll share? How do you wish to be remembered? What legacy do you truly want to leave behind? This powerful and perhaps uncomfortable thought experiment is exactly what Stephen Covey means when he says, begin with the end in mind. But make no mistake, this habit isn't about death. It's profoundly about life. It's about living deliberately, with clear purpose and focused intention, rather than simply reacting to whatever the world throws your way. Because most people don't approach life this way. Instead, they wake up each day, jumping immediately into the chaos, checking off tasks, running from meeting to meeting, filling their schedules with busy work without ever pausing to ask, is this even leading me where I truly want to go? They spend years climbing ladders without stopping to make sure those ladders are leaning against the right walls. Covey challenges us to step back, to zoom out, and ask a deeper, more fundamental question. What kind of life am I actually building here? Not just what do I want to achieve, but who do I want to become? What kind of relationships do I wish to nurture? What values do I want to represent? What legacy do I genuinely desire to leave behind? He reminds us of something profound. Everything in life is created twice, first mentally and then physically. Think about this for a moment. Before a beautiful home is built, it begins as a blueprint. Before a powerful song is performed, lyrics and melodies are carefully written. Before any successful business opens its doors, there's a clear vision of what it could become. So, what about your own life? Have you consciously designed it, or are you merely drifting through each day, allowing noise, pressure, and urgency to dictate your path? Covey offers a simple yet powerful tool, a personal mission statement. This isn't a rigid list of tasks or goals. Instead, it's a guiding vision, a personal compass for who you aspire to be. When life becomes chaotic, when things inevitably break down, when distractions tug at your attention, this mission statement becomes your anchor. It reminds you of what's truly important, realigns your focus, and keeps you on the path of who you intend to become. It doesn't need to be complex or overly formal. It can be beautifully simple, like this. I choose to live with integrity, compassion, and courage. I nurture meaningful relationships, prioritize presence over distraction, and strive to add value to every situation I encounter. Or it could be a question that grounds your day, every single morning. What can I do today that aligns perfectly with the person I want to be remembered as? When you start each day with that question, everything transforms. You stop chasing random, meaningless goals. You learn to say no to the demands that drain your energy and yes only to what fuels your purpose. Your daily actions become intentional, purposeful, and aligned, not random or reactive. You're no longer living by default. Instead, you're living a life carefully designed by intention. So right now, take a breath. Close your eyes and vividly imagine your final day again. Hear those voices, see those faces. Think deeply about what you'd want them to say about you, the memories they'd share, the values they'd celebrate. And then consider, what small changes would you need to make starting today, right now, to ensure those words, those stories, those reflections become your reality? Because the legacy you leave behind isn't something you suddenly create at the end. It's something you build right now, moment by moment, day by day, through every choice and every action you take. And as we journey forward together, we'll explore habit 3, put first things first. Here, we'll dive deeper into how to prioritize what genuinely matters, how to shift from being constantly busy to genuinely effective, and how to start aligning your daily actions perfectly with the vision of life you've just clearly imagined. You wake up, the alarm rings, the world rushes at you before you've even had a chance to open your eyes. Emails flood your inbox, meetings demand your presence, notifications tug at your attention. Before your feet hit the floor, you're already pulled in 1,000 different directions, each clamoring louder than the last. But Stephen Covey invites us to pause, to take a breath, to step away from the noise, even if just for a moment, and ask ourselves a deceptively simple question that pierces right to the core of life itself. What truly matters most? Because here's the truth. Life doesn't slow down and wait for you to figure out what matters. If you don't consciously choose your priorities, someone else will happily choose them for you. It could be your boss, your colleagues, your clients, or even your smartphone. The world is always eager to fill your day if you let it. This is the heart of habit 3, put first things first. This habit isn't about fitting more into your day. It's about fitting the right things into your day. It's about taking the vision you crafted in habit 2, that powerful image of the life you want, the legacy you dream of, and translating it into intentional, meaningful actions you can take right now. Because a vision without intentional action remains just a beautiful dream. And a life packed with random tasks that don't align with who you truly want to become, that's not really a life. It's simply a to-do list. To help us clarify this, Covey introduces the time management matrix, which categorizes everything we do into 4 powerful quadrants. Quadrant 1, urgent and important. These are the crises, emergencies, deadlines, and problems that immediately demand your attention. They're impossible to ignore because they shout loudly for immediate action. Quadrant 2, important but not urgent. Here lies long-term planning, meaningful relationships, strategic projects, self-care, learning, and personal growth. These are essential tasks that shape your future, but they're quiet. They don't scream, they whisper. Quadrant 3, urgent but not important. Interruptions, distractions, minor issues, other people's priorities disguised as urgent tasks. These feel pressing, yet they rarely move you closer to your true vision. Quadrant 4. Neither urgent nor important. This quadrant includes the trivial, time-wasting activities like mindless scrolling, unnecessary busy work, and pointless distractions. They provide no lasting value and often leave you drained and empty. Sadly, most people spend their lives trapped in quadrants 1 and 3. They're endlessly reacting, continuously putting out fires, and constantly busy without ever feeling truly fulfilled or effective. They mistake busyness for productivity. But highly effective people, the calm, purposeful individuals who genuinely make a difference, spend most of their time in quadrant 2. They're proactive, not reactive. They build meaningful relationships before crises arise. They invest in their health before sickness sets in. They work intentionally on important projects long before deadlines loom. They live their lives deliberately, not accidentally. Quadrant 2 is where your vision becomes reality. It's quiet, steady, and subtle, but it's exactly where meaningful growth and lasting fulfillment happen. Think about your life as if it's a glass jar. Your big rocks represent your core values, your health, your family, your life's mission, your relationships. The pebbles are everyday tasks, work meetings, emails, household chores. The sand symbolizes distractions, social media, unnecessary busy work, mindless scrolling. If you fill your jar first with sand, the meaningless distractions, you'll quickly run out of room for your big rocks. But if you prioritize your big rocks first, placing your most meaningful values and goals into your day, you'll find that the pebbles and sand naturally settle into the spaces around them. Everything fits beautifully when you start with what matters most. So ask yourself honestly, what are your big rocks? What are those critical parts of your life that, if neglected, would make everything else meaningless? How different would your days look if you committed to placing these first, before letting the world rush in and dictate your schedule? Remember this clearly. Every single time you say yes to something trivial or unimportant, you're automatically saying no to something deeply meaningful. Every moment spent on tasks that don't truly matter steals precious time from what truly does. Ahead, we'll move deeper into habit 4, think win-win, where we'll shift our mindset away from competition towards collaboration, exploring how true effectiveness comes not from outperforming others, but from creating solutions that uplift and benefit everyone involved. Imagine you're sitting across from someone at a table. Between you lies a pie, just enough for both of you to get a decent slice. You glance at them, they glance at you, and in that quiet moment, you make a decision. Do you rush to grab the biggest slice, leaving them with less? Or do you pause, take a breath, and find a way for both of you to leave the table feeling satisfied? Most people approach life as if it's a zero-sum game, a competition where there's only so much to go around. They operate from a scarcity mindset, believing there's never enough success, recognition, or resources. And because of this, they play to win, even if it means someone else has to lose. Stephen Covey refers to this mindset as win-lose. It's driven by the belief that for you to succeed, someone else must fail. It's the voice in your head saying, if I don't get exactly what I want, then I've lost. Or if I compromise even a little, I'm weak. But here's the uncomfortable truth. When you win and someone else loses, you haven't genuinely won anything lasting. You've won the slice of pie, but you've also created resentment, tension, and distance. The person across from you leaves hungry, dissatisfied, and feeling cheated. And that fractured relationship can often come back to haunt you. Now imagine returning to that table, seeing that same pie, but asking a different question entirely. How can we both walk away feeling like we've won? This is habit 4, think win-win. Covey teaches us that genuine effectiveness and lasting success comes from shifting our mindset from scarcity to abundance. Instead of seeing the world as a single pie with limited slices, you begin to see it as a bakery filled with endless pies. Opportunities multiply, solutions become abundant, success expands. Thinking win-win isn't about being passive, weak, or overly accommodating. It doesn't mean letting people walk over you or sacrificing your needs. It's about finding creative, thoughtful solutions that genuinely benefit both sides. It's about creating mutual respect, understanding, and collaboration, solutions where both parties feel valued, heard, and satisfied. It's realizing your success doesn't threaten mine, and my success doesn't diminish yours. Because in reality, any success built on someone else's loss isn't truly success at all. It's just delayed failure, wrapped in resentment. But here's the critical piece. You can't genuinely embrace win-win thinking if you don't truly believe there's enough for everyone. You can't sit at the table with openness and creativity if your mind is occupied by fear, ego, and the need to protect your own interests above all else. To think win-win, you need to trust in abundance, collaboration, and the deeper truth that success is magnified, not diminished, by sharing it. Covey challenges us to reflect on our conversations, negotiations, and interactions by asking ourselves, am I stepping into this situation trying only to win, or am I genuinely looking for solutions that create a win for both sides? Am I here just to defend my position, or to truly understand theirs? Am I here to compete, or am I here to connect? Because once you adopt the win-win mindset, you stop seeing others as opponents or threats, and start seeing them as partners and allies. You stop desperately protecting your slice of the pie, and instead, you become someone who bakes new pies, creating endless opportunities not just for yourself, but for everyone around you. And in the end, you don't just walk away with a personal victory, you walk away with something even more valuable: trust, respect, and enduring relationships. Those things can't be taken from you. They can only be earned by genuinely caring enough to ensure that everyone wins. Ahead, we'll dive even deeper into Habit 5, Seek First to Understand, Then to Be Understood, where we'll learn how true communication isn't about how loudly you speak, but about how deeply you listen. Imagine this. You're sitting across from someone you care about deeply. They're trying to tell you how they feel, opening their heart, sharing something honest, maybe even vulnerable. But even as their words fill the space between you, you're only half listening. You nod your head, murmuring phrases like, "I totally get it," or "Yeah, I know what you mean." But deep inside, your mind is already spinning, forming your reply, crafting your response, eager to jump in with advice or your own perspective. Stephen Covey tells us this is how most conversations unfold. We believe we're good listeners, but often we're just waiting our turn to speak. We hear words, but we're not genuinely present. We're filtering everything through our own experiences, biases, or judgments, silently imposing our narrative onto theirs. But Habit 5 challenges us to shift our approach entirely. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. What does this truly mean? It means stepping out of your own head and fully into the world of another person. It means quieting your own internal dialogue, your desire to defend, explain, or fix things, and instead deeply exploring what they're really trying to convey. It means genuinely asking yourself, what is this person feeling? Not just the surface-level words they choose, but the deeper emotions hidden beneath, their fears, hopes, frustrations, or uncertainty. Covey calls this practice empathetic listening. It's not just hearing the words, but feeling the heart behind them. It doesn't mean agreeing with everything said, it means honoring the person's reality and perspective, even if it's vastly different from your own. Take a moment and think about how incredibly rare this kind of listening actually is. When was the last time someone listened to you without interrupting, without immediately offering advice, or without making the conversation about themselves? When was the last time someone genuinely looked you in the eye and asked, "Can you help me understand what you're going through?" and actually waited patiently for your answer? This level of empathy creates an almost magical space, a safe zone, where people can finally let their guard down, feeling truly heard, valued, and understood. It's here, in this safe, judgment-free space, where genuine connection is born. Trust grows deep roots, and relationships flourish. And here's the beautiful truth. Because so few people experience this genuine, empathetic listening, when you offer it, it's profoundly disarming. The impact is immediate and deep. Suddenly, you're not just exchanging words, you're building bridges, you're forging connections, you're creating trust. Covey points out something crucial. After someone feels truly understood, genuinely seen, they're far more open and willing to hear your perspective. Why? Because now they trust you. They know you care. They know you aren't just waiting to impose your own viewpoint. You've already given them the precious gift of feeling understood. And because of that, they're now ready to genuinely listen to you. Not as an opponent, but as a partner. So next time you're in a conversation, before you rush in with your advice or your perspective, pause. Take a deep breath. Look into their eyes and say sincerely, "Can you help me understand what you're feeling?" Then listen, not to reply, not to fix or judge, but purely, genuinely, and wholeheartedly to understand. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do isn't speaking at all, it's the quiet, gentle act of truly listening. And now, as we journey forward, we'll step into habit 6, synergize, where we'll learn why authentic connection isn't just about compromise or cooperation. It's about joining forces to create something extraordinary, something greater and more powerful than either person could achieve alone. Think about the last time you tried collaborating with someone who saw things completely differently than you did. Maybe it was a partner, a colleague at work, or even someone in your family. You started talking, and at first you thought you'd find common ground, but soon it felt like you were speaking two completely different languages. You were looking at the same problem, but each of you saw something entirely different. Instead of growing closer, the gap between you widened, leaving you feeling frustrated, misunderstood, or disconnected. Stephen Covey tells us most people would approach this moment with compromise, settling for a middle ground where each person reluctantly gives up something they wanted. But Covey suggests there's something far more powerful than compromise, something transformative, creative, and incredibly valuable. He calls this approach synergy. This is habit 6, synergize. Synergy goes far beyond merely cooperating or meeting halfway. It's about doing something extraordinary. It's about creating something entirely new, something richer and greater than either person could ever achieve alone. Picture this. Two people are standing on opposite ends of a table. One holds a blue paintbrush and the other a yellow one. If they stay apart, each leaves only with their original color. But if they step forward, trust each other, and blend their colors together, they create something brand new, green. Neither had green before. Neither could have created it by themselves. But now together, they've formed something fresh, something deeper, something entirely unique. That's what synergy truly looks like. But here's the catch. Synergy can't happen without openness and trust. This is where most people stumble. To genuinely synergize, you must let go of your desire to be right, to control, to dominate. You must set aside your ego, your agenda, your preconceived ideas, and open yourself up to the possibility that your perspective might not be complete. That perhaps the other person sees something valuable that you don't. It requires you not just to listen with your ears, but also to listen deeply with your heart. Synergy asks you to genuinely consider, what if their perspective isn't wrong? What if it's just different? And what if our differences are exactly what's needed to create something incredible? Covey points out clearly that most people confuse synergy with compromise. But compromise is often a disguised form of losing. Two people each giving up something valuable, feeling dissatisfied in the process. Synergy, on the other hand, is never about loss. It's about expanding possibilities. It's about saying to the other person, let's combine your best ideas with mine and see what new possibilities emerge. Imagine musicians in a band. Each member has their instrument, style, and rhythm. Alone, they're skilled, but separate, they create isolated notes. If they each stubbornly play their own music, the result is chaos, just noise. But when they start truly listening to one another, aligning their melodies, rhythms, and harmonies, they create music that's far richer, more powerful, and profoundly beautiful than anything they could achieve individually. That's synergy, creating something far greater than the sum of its parts. But to get to that powerful place, you have to step forward with genuine openness. You must release the need to control the outcome. You have to allow yourself to be surprised by what emerges. True synergy can't be planned precisely. It's spontaneous, creative, and genuinely transformative. It's the magic that happens when two or more people bring their diverse strengths, unique perspectives, and valuable experiences together, blending them into something remarkable that none of them imagined on their own. So the next time you find yourself facing someone who thinks differently, instead of shutting down, instead of pushing back, lean in, get curious, ask them genuinely, What can we create together? What insights do you have that I might be missing? How can our differences become our greatest strength? Because synergy isn't about sacrificing or giving in. It's about giving more creativity, more openness, more curiosity. It's about letting go of the need to be right in order to discover something extraordinary together. As we move ahead into the final habit, habit 7, sharpen the saw, we'll uncover why the most effective people don't simply work harder. Instead, they intentionally take time to renew themselves, to recharge, to nurture their body, mind, heart, and spirit, so that their effectiveness isn't short-lived, but sustained throughout a lifetime. Imagine you're walking through a peaceful forest. The air feels fresh, crisp, revitalizing. Beneath your feet, the ground is soft, covered in a carpet of leaves. Up ahead, you notice a man hunched over a thick log, sweat streaming down his forehead. He's pushing a saw back and forth, but the blade is dull. It's hardly making any progress. Frustrated, exhausted, he's pressing harder and harder, yet he's barely making a dent. Concerned, you approach him gently and ask, "Why don't you pause for a moment and sharpen your saw?" He glances up at you, eyes tired and heavy, and replies breathlessly, "I don't have time to sharpen the saw. Can't you see? I'm too busy sawing." This image captures how many of us live our lives. We hustle endlessly. We push through exhaustion, tackling tasks, meeting deadlines, constantly striving, but rarely do we stop long enough to replenish our most valuable resource, ourselves. Stephen Covey refers to this as habit 7, sharpen the saw. It's not about slowing down or giving up. It's about intentionally taking time to renew yourself, refuel your energy, and recharge your spirit, so you can continue moving forward powerfully and purposefully without collapsing under the weight of exhaustion. Think of it this way. Your body, your mind, your heart, and your spirit are all saws. Each day, you're sawing through the log of life's demands, tasks, challenges, conversations, deadlines, and responsibilities. Every time you push yourself without rest, without care, without renewal, your saw blade grows duller. Your body weakens, your mind becomes foggy, your emotions feel drained, and your spirit starts to fade. Yet most people simply keep sawing. They push through fatigue, ignoring their own needs, wondering why everything feels harder, heavier, and more exhausting than before. Covey reveals that genuine effectiveness doesn't come from working harder or longer, it comes from regularly pausing to sharpen your saw. It's about caring for yourself with the same intentionality you pour into your tasks. It's about recognizing that rest isn't a reward, it's a necessity. It's about stepping back deliberately, renewing your strength, clarifying your purpose, so when you move forward again, you do so with clarity, power, and passion. Covey identifies 4 key areas of renewal: physical renewal, exercise, nutrition, sleep. Your body is the instrument that makes your effectiveness possible. Caring for your body isn't a secondary concern, it's foundational. Exercise to energize, nourish to sustain, sleep to restore. Mental renewal, reading, learning, expanding your mind. It's not just about absorbing information, it's about seeking knowledge and growth that deepens your perspective, sharpens your thinking, and keeps your mind vibrant and curious. Emotional renewal, building meaningful connections, nurturing relationships, cultivating self-compassion. It's about creating moments of genuine connection and support, surrounding yourself with people who uplift and inspire you, and being kind to yourself throughout your journey. Spiritual renewal, reflecting, reconnecting with your values, purpose, and inner sense of meaning. It's the quiet moments away from noise and distraction, moments of gratitude, contemplation, and reconnecting with what deeply matters to you. Your why, your deeper purpose, your beliefs. Covey stresses that neglecting even one of these areas leaves you vulnerable and depleted. You might be physically fit but emotionally drained. You could be mentally sharp but spiritually disconnected. Each neglected area dulls your blade, making every task harder, every day heavier, every success less meaningful. But when you regularly pause to sharpen the saw, everything transforms. Your energy returns, your clarity deepens, your creativity expands, your passion reignites. Sharpening the saw isn't a luxury, it's a crucial investment. It's the very work that makes all your other work possible. It's the practice that prevents burnout and allows you to live a sustained, fulfilling, purposeful life. So the next time you feel too busy to pause, too overwhelmed to rest, or too pressed for time to renew, remember the exhausted man in the forest. Remember his dull saw. Remember that stopping to renew yourself isn't losing time, it's investing it wisely. It ensures that when you return to your work, you do so stronger, clearer, and more focused. Because the goal isn't merely to achieve, it's to sustain achievement, to thrive, and to live with deep fulfillment. And the only way to truly sustain is to regularly pause, breathe deeply, sharpen the saw, and step forward again with renewed strength, clear intention, and unstoppable purpose. Imagine waking up one day and realizing life is racing ahead faster than you can keep up. Days blur into weeks, weeks into months, and though your calendar is always full, a quiet voice whispers that something essential is missing. You're productive, busy by all standards, but deep inside you sense you're drifting further away from what truly matters. Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is more than just another self-help book. It's a powerful call to wake up, to step out of autopilot, and to reclaim your life from distraction and busyness. Covey reminds us that real effectiveness isn't about cramming more tasks into each day. It's about consciously choosing how you spend your time, your energy, and your life. Not reacting to external pressures, but acting from a place of deep intention and clear purpose. It all begins with habit 1, be proactive. Picture yourself standing in the middle of a fierce storm, wind howling, rain pouring down. You can't control this storm. You can't even predict how long it'll last. But there is something you can control: how you choose to respond. Being proactive isn't about trying to tame life's storms. It's about finding calm within yourself, choosing deliberately who be in the face of life's uncertainty. You can't always choose your circumstances, but you can always choose your response. Then Covey leads us to habit 2, begin with the end in mind. This habit asks us to pause in the middle of our busy lives and ask a profound question. Where am I headed? Is the path I'm on truly leading me toward the life I want to live? Because without clarity about your destination, you risk wasting your days merely reacting to urgent demands rather than moving intentionally toward a meaningful goal. Habit 2 is about crafting a vision, your personal compass that guides every decision, every action, every moment of your life. Once you have that clear vision, habit 3, put first things first, takes center stage. This habit helps you sift through the noise and distractions that consume your days. It reminds you to prioritize not just what's urgent, but what's genuinely important, the activities aligned with your values and vision. It empowers you to say no to trivial tasks, so you can say yes to the activities that truly matter, the ones that bring you closer to your highest goals. It's about deliberately placing your biggest rocks first, the people, values, and goals you cherish most deeply. Moving forward, Covey introduces us to habit 4, think win-win. Imagine moving through life seeing others not as competitors, but as collaborators. This habit encourages us to drop the scarcity mindset. The idea that for you to succeed, someone else must fail, and instead embrace abundance. It's the understanding that there's enough success, enough joy, enough opportunity for everyone. By thinking win-win, you create relationships built on trust, respect, and mutual benefit, connections that last far longer than any quick win ever could. Yet, to reach that place, you must master habit 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood. In our noisy, distracted world, true listening is rare. Often, we listen just enough to reply, not enough to truly understand. But when you pause, quiet your own internal dialogue, and genuinely listen, when you seek to see the world through someone else's eyes, you create a profound connection. People feel heard, validated, and respected, building trust that allows real communication to flow effortlessly. And from this deep understanding arises habit 6, synergize. Synergy isn't compromise or simple cooperation. It's a creative force, a place where different perspectives blend to form something entirely new, something greater than any one person could achieve alone. Like musicians creating music together, synergy occurs when people come together with openness, humility, and trust, combining their differences to create outcomes richer and more powerful than anyone imagined possible. Yet none of these habits can thrive if you neglect the final, essential one. Habit 7, sharpen the saw. Picture yourself as the saw. the primary instrument shaping your life. If your saw is dull, if you're exhausted, overwhelmed, or burned out, you'll struggle through every task. Habit 7 is about self-renewal, the regular practice of taking care of your mind, body, heart, and spirit. It's prioritizing rest, renewal, and self-care, knowing that when you're at your best, your effectiveness multiplies in every area of your life. So, these are the 7 habits. Not a simple checklist or quick fix formula, but a holistic framework for living deeply, meaningfully, and intentionally. They're habits designed not only to transform how you perform tasks, but to shape who you become in the process. If this message resonated, if it helped you reconnect with what truly matters, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Bix Book Summary. If you're inspired to go even deeper, the link to Covey's powerful book is in the description below. It's more than just a good read, it's a guide to a better life. Until next time, I'm Bix. Stay intentional, stay grounded, and remember, your future isn't something distant or out of reach. It's shaped right now, in the small, deliberate habits you practice every single day.